Hi, my name is Buffalo Drill TV, and today's video we're going to be talking about the violent civil war that has been going on with the lower west side of Buffalo, New York, mainly in Pine Harbor, located downtown on 10th, 7th Street. Also, you can't forget about the other Out West members located on Busty and Hudson and Pennsylvania Street. There's also some of them on Grant, located on Herkimer and Potomac, but now over there, they call themselves P Block, and most of them are rolling 60s, aka known as Crips. So, basically what I'm trying to say is we're going to be talking about the old gang wars in the west side, and the ones that's still going on till this day, when it used to be 7th Street versus 10th Street. Also, we're going to be talking about the split that made everybody either want to backdoor each other, or straight up just want to kill each other. Also, you guys have to remember it's the same guys that used to be homies, and that would do anything for each other, and that would do everything together. Plus, what's going to make this video more crazy is that the history with all of this goes back to the early 1980s, mainly with the gangs lately that has been running the streets. Also, don't forget to please like and subscribe if you want more content, and if you enjoy my content. Now, alright, I know y'all don't want to hear all of this yapping. Y'all just want to get into the video, so let's get started. Growing up in Buffalo back in the early 80s, even into the 90s, there were neighborhoods that were popular for different reasons. There was a time back in the 80s when street gangs were very popular, such as Central Park, Milla Gangsta Bloods Gang, Latin Kings Gang, CBL and BFL, Fruit Belt Gang, 10th Street Gang, 7th Street Gang, Shula Boys Gang, Cash Money Gang. Also, we had most gangs back in the day were made of people from the different hoods that they lived in. The crazy thing is, in some cases, you were automatically put in a gang because you grew up in that hood. In other cases, you had to actually become a member through a process. Another reason why these neighborhoods were so popular, they were known for having the most people in them. In some cases, these places were not only popular because of street gangs, but some of them were known for other things as well, some good and some bad. A few of the neighborhoods were known for hosting big house parties and having nice corner bars, which is still a big deal in Buffalo to this day. So as you can see, the gang violence has been a source of a variety of crimes in Buffalo for decades, including violent murders. I grew up in Buffalo, where gun violence carried out by gangs was rampant in the 1980s and 1990s. We had Bloods, Crips, and a plethora of Hispanic gangs. In high school, I knew many of my peers who were murdered in cold blood by rival gangs. I have personally been in the vicinity of about 3 to 4 shootouts. I remember we were at a fast food place called McDonald's after a party when some gang members came in waving a gun and threatening to shoot everyone because they were looking for a rival gang member. It's definitely a traumatic part of my earlier life. In Buffalo, there doesn't seem to be many Crips or Bloods. Now the gangs are more neighborhood or housing projects affiliated. So the first incident that sparked the beef between the two gangs started back in 2008. A man that went by the name of Kyle Egan, he was 27, and a fellow member of the 10th Street Gang, he shot a victim 9 times who ultimately survived, and the person he shot was also a member of the 7th Street Gang, but from our knowledge the person's name is unknown. But after that happened, this second incident unfortunately would happen again, but kind of differently. A few months later, another member of the 7th Street Gang, his name was Omar Fraticello Lugo, but unfortunately he would lose his life because a group of 10th Street members would be sliding on 7th Street later that day at 7 p.m. looking for them. But then unfortunately Omar would lose his life in the middle of that whole situation. Now finally in 2016 they would all catch RICO charges. The police would finally catch on to what they was doing in the streets. They was selling crack, meth, PCP, and there was drilling, all type of stuff to make money and try to provide for their families, because back in the day people had no other option but to do that type of stuff. I know it's the sad truth, but it's the facts at the end of the day. Now we're gonna get on to the new generation of 10th Street versus 7th Street.
So these were all young kids that grew up with each other, most of them that were from 10th Street. They were from Grant, mainly over by the Herkimer area of Grant, like such young men named as J.D. Shada and his brother known as Day Day. Also they had back out west, Manny out west, Bray out west and his brother BJ out west and their brothers, and many more that were from their area. So once everybody moved to either Pine Harbor or the Lakeview area of the lower west side, they started their own gang called 4-Ply. They were known for stealing cars, robbing people. Some of them even did home invasions, and many more stuff kids did as kids while living in the hood of the lower west side. But unfortunately, every story comes to an end. They would start beefing with each other, so let's talk about that situation. J.D. Shada's cousin, who went by the name of Junie Hound. Junie, who's allegedly from Uptown, the Kensington area on the Orleans streets, and he's also G13 aka Bloodhound Brim Jet from the Gun Hill area of the Bronx. He would be in Lakeview with a fellow OG member of 10th Street named Skip, and they were all having good time playing dice, talking about the past and everything good that has been going on with everybody live, but until Skip started to get mad. After Junie Hound started to take all of his money after winning the dice game, that's when Skip's son, who went by the name Jovi out west, started to get in the middle of the situation, because by the looks of it they were going to fight. So that's when Junie would take a Uber home after the situation. Then later on that same day, Junie and Jovi would have some words to say to each other on Facebook. They were doing it for months and months, but little did they know that would cause everything to get worse for everybody. So it was another fellow member, so went by Seti out west. He was from the Bustide and Hudson area of the lower west side. He would in Riverside last year, where he would inside of a corner store on Tonawanda Street around 7 p.m. That's when the police came. Once they got the call, that's when he would be rushed to Eckerd Hospital. He was unfortunately shot in the leg.
Tonight, after a shooting in Riverside, Buffalo police say a man was shot in the leg around 7:30 tonight on Tonawanda Street by Riverside Park. He was taken to ECMC and is expected to be okay. Anyone with information on the shooting is asked to call Buffalo Police's confidential tip line. That number 716-847-2255.
Wait guys, I left out a part of the story. The streets are saying allegedly John from the Jaspers and Junie would be allegedly be responsible for the hit. Now a few months go by. On December 4th, Junie would be locked up for a gun charge from a situation where they said he would get into an argument with his ex-girlfriend and would force her inside the house. Now let's fast forward. He would be released on April 12th, but meanwhile Junie was locked. Jovi and JD would be arguing all over Facebook. He would taunting him for not sliding in the comments of the photo of Junie that Jovi had as his background. Now a few months ago, bye. J.D. Shada would be inside the Lakeview area looking for Out West members when finally he got tired of looking for them on his bike, and he would be lighting up a bottle of alcohol with a wet rag and throw it inside Mo Out West home.
This morning we're trying to learn more about a fire that happened on Buffalo's lower west side. Take a look. Our photographer arrived on scene around 4 this morning on Hudson Street. Firefighters were focusing on the building that is to the left on your screen. They were walking in and out of the building as well. We do not know what caused the fire and if anyone was hurt. We'll update you on this story when we receive new information.
But wait guys, they're the main incident y'all came to see. So on May 10th, Out West member from Pine Harbor named Allen, he would be drunk riding his skateboard on Niagara Street at 12:45 a.m. in the morning, when he wouldn't be paying attention when an SUV would hit him and killing him on the scene.
Buffalo police are investigating after a man was hit by an SUV early yesterday morning. It happened shortly before 1 a.m. on Niagara Street. That victim has been identified as Alan Ruiz. He died at the scene. Police have not arrested or charged the driver, who they say tried to run away.
Police are asking anyone with information to call the confidential tip line.
Now, on the day of June 16th, JD would go to that same candle site and record himself kicking Alan Ruiz candles. Now that's the end of the video, guys. But before I end the video, I just pray all of these young kids can come back together as one and can just fix the community. Because honestly, living a place like Buffalo now has always been hell. Now, if y'all want more content like this, let me know in the comments below.